we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 97 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. All right, well, sorry for the delay, man. I got stuck in Arizona, of all places, getting my work on like a sucker. Dude, I'll tell you something. I've spent some time in Arizona before, and I've been out there in the summer when it sucks and it's really hot, and it's not a way to live. And if you've never been to the Middle East, I think like in Arizona or a Vegas is a good argument for like this is why people don't drink so much in the Middle East, because it's murder, dude. It'll make you die and be dead. But I was out there this time, and it was not so bad. It was a little bit cool. It's super dry, so you really got to plan ahead. But it was pretty cool. Got a little time outside, got a little work done, got a little shekels a-coming, so I can't complain too much. I can't complain too much, but I will anyway. So there's that. Anyway, so we're back once again with the ill behavior, and I've got some stuff I want to talk about. The election, some of the shit that went on there. You know, I'm going to try to not give any of the common broke takes that, you know, that have been running wild of late. But I'll give some takes. I want to go over some of the crazy shit that I saw that night, and then some of the stuff that's come out since, man. Because there's some good material to look through, dude. It's a barrel of laughs. So I want to hit on this, and then I want to talk. You know, after we get done laughing about that, because it is funny. But after we get done laughing about that, then let's take a more serious look at some of the jackassery that's going on vis-a-vis Trump's picks, picking it like a nose. It's not cool, man. It's not even sort of cool. It's pretty ass-tarded. Maybe not as ass-tarded as last time, but still incredibly weak, incredibly clunky. So, you know, we'll take a look. But first, I want to get my laugh on about some genuine, like, no shit white pill action. This Dan Bilzerian, I don't know if you know who this dude is. So this dude, I guess, and I'm not your Bilzerian enjoyer per se, but I mean, from what I know of the guy, what I've seen of him before, my understanding of him was that this dude was a professional poker player, and I guess, as I understand it, the guy comes from money, but plays poker and does pretty well. But he's this guy with this reputation, and I don't know what kind of program this guy's on or what kind of shit he was on or injected himself with, but he's fairly jacked for a middle-aged dude. But his deal was always that he would, have his little videos or his little selfies or whatever, and it would always be with like this stack of hot ass. And like, look, I'm a fan of hot women myself, right? Yeah, I'm a fan. I like it. I like these hot women's. But here's the thing, man, is like, you don't shack up with them, man. You don't set up shop. You sure as shit don't allow them like free run of your fucking yacht. I mean, I can't imagine a more miserable existence. Right. I mean, it's like, to me, I think of it like driving a Ferrari or something, right? Like you see a Ferrari and you're like, oh, this is a well put together vehicle. Like, it's the practicalities of, I don't want to drive the thing through fucking rush hour traffic. And I think that's where I'm going with this is that, you see one and you're like, oh, this is something very expensive that's, known to be put together very well. And like, I'm not your Ferrari enjoyer. It might be a sack of shit, but as I understand it, this is a quality vehicle, right? But you get this vehicle, you walk out there and you're like, wow, this is, conceptually, it should be really put together. It should go really fucking fast. This thing should be the deal. I would like to drive it around. I mean, how could you see that and not want to take it for a spin around the block? Let's get this thing out on the straightaway and see what it can do. Let's see, let's fuck around. I think it's the same thing with hot women. Like you see this and you're like, whoa, That's something special. I don't think I've ever got to drive one of those before. Yeah, how are you not going to be at least remotely interested in that? Of course. But then when it becomes the practicalities, like the practicalities of driving a fucking Ferrari, like where am I going to park this thing? Holy Christ, if I clip the curb with this thing, what is it going to cost to get this straightened out? What if some asshole opens their door into it? Ka-clang! Or God forbid somebody runs into you. I don't remember if you remember, it was, dude, it had to be like a year, at least a year ago. Some idiot in a Ferrari ran into me. And that was when I was driving the, 2 iterations ago of Doomsday Vehicle. And it was like the vehicle I was driving, like I can tell you now, because I don't have it no more, but I was driving this right side drive Land Cruiser that I had gotten my mitts on. And it was kind of a pain in the ass to get it like registered and all this kind of shit. But this fucking guy was hauling ass, because the guy ran into me and I'm like, holy fuck, what did I do? Am I the asshole here? Like, you kick yourself. You're like, what the fuck have you done? You know? And then I get out of the car and I'm looking, and like I was the guy making a left turn. So like your first inclination is like, yeah, you pulled into traffic like an asshole, you know? So I pull out here and like, bam, I'm like, shit. Like, what have I done? You know? And I stop and I get out and I look, and like there is skid marks from a block and a half back. And I'm like, what the fuck did you do, man? And this guy's looking at me, what fuck, bro? You fucking pulled in front of me, bro. And I'm like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, no. Just because the way the thing was situated, this dude skidded for, it was at least a block, dude, a solid block of like laid down rubber. And the way the street was like it's bending around. So like I was already out of the lane, and it's a double yellow line, and this dude had like skidded across the lane, clipped the back of my Doomsday Mobile, and like knocked it over a good few feet. So I stopped and I'm like, fuck, like not only did I just pull out in front of a Ferrari, like I fucked up my Doomsday Mobile too. But I'm kind of like checking it out. Like, nah, this works fine, dude. There's nothing wrong with my car. And I look at this guy's car and he is fucked. Like, this guy is shot the fuck out. Like, you're not walking this off. Like, this thing's getting towed. It might be done. But I look at it and like, so this cop pulls up and goes and talks to him. And you know, the way that cops do, man, like they try to stay very calm. Okay. Yeah. All right. You know? So I'm just standing there and waiting, and I'm looking, and I'm starting to figure out that I'm not the asshole that fucked this up. And he talks to this guy, and he comes over and talks to me, and he's like, all right, so what happened? And I just like looked, and I just pointed like, ta-da, like you're the grand prize winner on, you know, Coffee's game show, on today's show of You Bet Your Abuse or whatever. And I'm like, well, what do you think? I'm like pointing to this fucking block long skid mark. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I had figured. And I'm like, yeah. So as you could see, like the guy, it was like a 35, you know, so you tell me how you lay down a block's worth of skid mark in a 35 zone, skid into the oncoming lane, catch the back of my vehicle, and now you're coming to me with like, bro, you pulled out in front of me. Like, yeah, no. So the cop didn't buy it. The insurance didn't buy it. This guy definitely bought it, though. I don't know what happened to his Ferrari. I don't give a fuck what happened to his Ferrari, but I did get rid of the Doomsday Mobile. That particular Doomsday Mobile. I didn't have to get it fixed, so no big deal. But yeah, I have since channeled my funds into a whole other Doomsday Mobile. But I digress. What I was getting at about this Ferrari situation is what if either some guy in a Doomsday Mobile pulls out in front of you, or you're just a fucking asshole doing like 70 in a 35, and then you run into somebody. Now what? Like, there are 1,001 ways to fuck up this Ferrari, and you got to deal with all of them all the fucking time. Like, if it's somebody else's Ferrari, right? Or if you're like a fucking multi-gazillionaire, like Practical Joke rich, and I don't think I've even met anybody that's that rich that's like, oh yeah, I fucked up my Ferrari. No big deal. I got a spare, right? No problem. I don't think I've ever met anybody like that. So if you were that rich, then probably it wouldn't really matter. But if you're anybody else, you got to be like, fuck, I got to deal with this every day. As opposed to just like, yeah, I hop in and I drive it around and then I get rid of it. No big deal. It's somebody else's fucking problem. And that's what I think about, like really hot women, especially in the West. I can't imagine dealing with this shit day in and fucking day out because like this is what she's trading on. Like she's not some boxy broad that's like, well, fuck, I guess I got to get good at math or I'm going to have to learn how to cook or, I'm going to have to learn about something or other because I'm not going to be able to get by on my ass, right? These are women that are like, what do you bring to the table? I'll lay on the front of your yacht. Yeah, and? No, that's it. That's literally all I will do. Okay, sold. You're hired. I'm going to keep you alive for a few months. Here, eat free. Here's a spot to sleep. I promise I won't come a-knocking at 2 a.m. Here, let me keep you alive. That's your job, is just to be hot. Fuck that. I mean, good God almighty, can you imagine a more useless fucking person? And the complaints, and I'm just talking about one, right? So I'm talking about one of these things. Can you imagine the ass pain that this guy was probably had to be listening to, of like, oh, this, my coffee's not exactly the way I want it. Oh, this shit's, my pillow's too fucking fluffy. This shower doesn't get hot fast enough. Like complaints a fucking mile a goddamn minute. And you got to listen to all of it. And it's like, bitch, you're on a yacht. Shut up. No. I could be on some other yacht. I could totally do this. And you got not only one, what are you dealing with? Like 3, 4, 5 of these at a shot? You're out of your mind, dude. That's like 3, 4, 5 Ferraris now you got to deal with. I'm not interested in that. You can take that somewhere else. But like I had said previously, I think a lot of this stems from, I had heard this take on the Daily Stormer of all places. Seen it or heard it. I can't remember if he had done a podcast. I mean, he used to do podcasts. Andrew England I'm talking about used to do podcasts all the time. I might have just read this because the dude will talk about women once in a while. And I'll say this, man, if you're not familiar with the Daily Stormer, it's a little bizarre, but it's definitely within our thing. It's a cultural milestone, I'll say. I mean, if there was a Hall of Fame, for our thing, the guy would have to be in it. I mean, it is literally the most censored publication in history. Like the dude has been kicked off of everywhere, like around the world, right? These coin clippers will go to these countries and like, hey, you're hosting Daily Stormer. And they're like, hosting what? You're hosting Andrew Anglin. He's got to go. And they're like, what? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're going to censure you. We're going to fucking boycott you. We're going to stand up this, that, and the other against your tiny shitbox country. Like this guy was hosting. I can't even count all the places the guy has hosted out of. I want to say like Nigeria, Bhutan. I think currently it's out of like Indonesia or something. I mean, all over the world. And these coin clippers are hunting for this guy. And I think it has gotten to him. Like he's definitely a little bit of an autist where it's like, this is a guy that could sit down and crank out like article after article after article. And he's been doing it for like, it's got to be 10 plus years now. 10 plus years. And this dude doesn't take a day. He'll take like a day off. He'll take like Christmas. And then he'll just write and consume content and form opinions and put up memes and this kind of shit. So there's always content, but this dude is always like, the guy's got a fucking screw loose. I don't think you could write that much. You can't produce that much and not have a screw loose, at least a little bit. But anyway, the way that dude kind of like the derailing, well, like one of many derailments was way back when people still thought that Richard Spencer was straight. Richard Spencer's mom was up in a place, I guess, called Whitefish, Montana, and some band of coin clippers hit her up and had done some kind of a thing, and I can't remember the exact details, but it was like they were publishing this business of like calling her out for being Richard Spencer's mother. Right? Like, oh, your son is a Nazi. Oh, that's terrible. And you're a terrible person. And hey, what do you think? If you sell your property to us, we'll accept that as an apology. Like offering to buy her. I guess she has some parcel of property up in, Montana. But they're talking about like, we'll accept you selling us your property at, deep dick discounts as a form of an apology for your son hurting our feelings. And at the time, people were buying this shit. Like, I don't even remember what year this was. This is a good while back. But people were buying this shit and they're like, oh, that's terrible. Richard Spencer is a Nazi. And this one was when they were talking about like this punch a Nazi business. And he was out there dressed like the fancy Dan he is. And you know how they say, like, you get to our side of things, like you can't go back. I don't know what went on with this dude, but he has like shifted in some kind of a weird way to like this broke dick nationalism. I don't know what you would even call it, but the dude definitely strikes me as a fella who prefers the fellas. You know what I mean? Like at first I thought maybe he was just a guy who dressed nice and combed his hair. I don't really think so. The impression I get is much fancier. So anyway, long story long. These clippers, they go to his mom and they say this shit. So Andrew Anglin organizes, and this was back before it became, you know, like just saying things is hate or just showing up a place is hate. And he organized some kind of a march in Whitefish, Montana. And so I guess he organized this thing, and I don't know that anybody even showed up, but it became a big to-do. And of course, as you might expect, these Hebrews filed a civil suit against him for which he did not show up, so they kind of won by default, and he got hit with this judgment for like $1 gazillion. So, and I mean, again, this is all hearsay. I wasn't there for any of this shit. I haven't seen the documents. I don't have the documents. This is just, you know, what I hear. But I guess he got hit with this huge judgment. And then, as I am understanding it, he split the country, took off somewhere. I don't know for sure that he even left the country, but as I understand it, he is rumored to have left the country and set up shop in like Lagos, Nigeria, or some kind of wacky shit. So anyway, you know, extremely long story, extremely longer. This dude put out this idea, because he talks about women sometimes. He's not such an old fuck like myself. But he puts out ideas about, you know, women and relationships sometimes. And one of the things that he put out that I thought was actually a pretty good take was that what you see with a lot of dudes that are constantly chasing ass, like just gotta have ass, like I need more ass, hotter ass, this kind of thing, is basically that as men in America, we've spent our entire lives looking for women's approval. Like when you're a little kid, your dad is at work, so you're not around your dad. So you're stuck with your mom, right? Nothing against your mom personally, but, you know, you're stuck with your mom. When you go to school, most of the time, you're going to have some woman as a teacher. And even when you go to high school, I mean, I don't know how it is now. They don't let me near schools anymore, right? But when I was in high school, there were some dude teachers at that point, but they were all kind of fruity. And you know, I remember seeing them and I was thinking like, man, is that what you look like when you become a man? Like just this schlubby, dumpy, you know, just wearing the comfortable shoes and the polyester pants and my button-down shirt. I can't very well go around with no shirt on, and I comb the baldness over, and I just come in here and I tell the kids what they need to know. And come on, you guys, come on, let's just concentrate. Hey, can we listen, please? You know, this kind of shit, just kind of pussies of men, not proper men. You know, really schlubby and shitty. But the women, even in high school, it was like bitches. I mean, incredible bitches. And I think in retrospect, you know, I can't help but think that they were such bitches because they're getting you right at your, you know, right on the cusp of, you know, being a man. You're rapidly approaching manhood, and this is their last chance to really break nuts on a guy like you. Right? And they're going to lean in good, man. And I got leaned in on non-fucking stop. But I just thought that was normal. Like, this is just what you got to deal with. You know, you're a young dude. You're going to have these women howling at you. Come in here. I want to talk to you for a minute. What is your problem, mister? Just who do you think you are? And I'm like, what kind of stupid fuck woman question is this? Who do I think I am? Let me check my underwear and see what it says there. Let's take a look, shall we? But, yeah, it's really something. And, you know, so you spend your whole young life looking for approval from women, you know, and now you get out there, you get turned loose on the land, and it's just you, dude. And I saw this take the other day, man, with some of this business that I'll get to here forthwith about women saying that they're going to withhold sex from, you know, from men because of the Trump thing. And it's like the meme, like the gag of it was they're showing a clip of The Dark Knight and, Batman beating the shit out of Heath Ledger, beating the shit out of the gay cowboy. And he's saying, "You can't do anything to me." And it's saying like women who are saying they're going to withhold sex because Trump is president. And underneath that, it's like responsive men who haven't had a hug in 6 years. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much the size of it, because like you leave high school, like these women ain't trapped in a room with you no more. They don't got to sit there and listen to you, or you don't really have like, hey, what'd you get for answer number 4, So you're out there, you're on your own, man. And now you got to try to make your way. You got to try to find a job, keep a job, get 2 nickels to rub together. And all this while the federal government is saying, oh, yeah, we're going to divert resources from you, and we're going to be giving it to Tyrone over there so that he can be the one that gets into college and he can be the one that gets the good job. And in the unlikely event you even get a job, he'll be the one that gets promoted over you, so he'll actually get to fire you if you piss him off. Sound good? Like what could be better than that? So this is the predicament that you're put in as a man. So when I look now back at this Bilzerian kind of a thing where he's got like 5 hot women surrounding him, like to me, this is like that young man indicator of like, am I doing good? Am I doing good? And like these bitches are never going to tell you you're doing good. They don't give a half a fuck about you. They give a fuck about themselves. They give a fuck about like, yeah, I get paid to lay on a yacht right now, but is there a bigger yacht I could be laying on? Is there a sweeter deal I could possibly get? Let me get in my phone and take a look, man. And now that's what you're competing with, times 5 or 6. And I would honestly rather walk into traffic than do something like that. However, this Bilzerian, this dude, you want to talk about your redemption arc, man. Like this guy got into our thing, and I don't know exactly how or by what avenue. It would be cool to sit down with the guy and talk about, like the way that we talk about, like, how did you get here, And it could be through the incel door. It could be through the conspiracy door. It could be, through any number of things. I was an economist and I started asking some questions. There's lots of ways into this thing. But I would really like to sit down with that guy and be like, hey, man, so tell me, like, what were the indicators? At what point did you have to scratch your head and be like, no, come on, it can't be. Like you find out that like, it's me, right-wing nut job. And dude, I've told people 1,000 different times, I would love to be talked out of this. Convince me on this 6 million number, man. I am willing to listen to reason. Oh, you want to blame all your problems on somebody else? Dude, I don't really have problems. I am not poor. I am not crippled. I'm 1,000 years old, but I'm not bad looking. I could form a sentence, right? I'm more or less in shape. I don't have bunny ears problems. I don't have problems to blame on, my poor, downtrodden, weary traveler with no homeland to call his own. And I think you could almost kind of rewind to 1930s Germany, right? Because 1933, yeah, times was hard, but as it became 34, 35, 36, 37, now suddenly, right, what's going on with Germany? Hosting the Olympics, full employment, Autobahn, everything works properly, right? Everything's good. But is this the point where you're like, yeah, I need somebody to blame for my problems? No, everybody's looking around like shit is pretty good, dude. 12 years not a slave, right? Things are pretty fucking good. And now, what's the story though? Is it like, oh, you just want to blame somebody for your problems? No, dude, it's not like that at all. But this guy, I would really like to sit down and hear like, well, so how did you get from there to here? How did you get from, dealing with trying to park 5 Ferraris in your driveway and not worry that some idiot scratches one of them to now you're here where you are? So this guy went on Piers Morgan, apparently. And I haven't watched the whole show. I've just seen a fuck ton of clips of it. And it's fucking amazing, dude. It's incredible. Because I'll tell you, if you watch any of these mainstream, like media publication type things, man, if you listen closely, I'm begging you, listen to the way that these people will talk to somebody they don't like. Now, never mind that Trump isn't our guy. The bottom line is like the media doesn't like him, even though they're starting to be told now that like, no, you should probably act like you like him a little bit. Act like it's okay. You don't have to like him, but act like it's kind of your own fault, right? For kind of some shit you were saying. And you just got to start being okay with it. They still don't fucking like him. Like that programming took hold real nice. So when they talk to him, or just like Piers was talking to Bilzerian here, some of the ways that they'll frame these questions, and you got to watch for this shit, man, because people will do it to you. What you'll hear is some of these little, how can I say, these turns of phrase, these conversational parlor tricks, where they're very much steering the conversation. They're putting words in your mouth, putting thoughts in your head. And sometimes it's not even in your head. They're putting thoughts into the mind of the person listening. Because if I'm arguing with you, right? If I'm here arguing with Rabbi Shmuley, I know that I'm not going to change Rabbi Shmuley's mind, right? He's going to walk out of here thinking exactly what he thought before. I'm not going to convince him of anything. I'm only arguing with him to convince anybody else within earshot. So I will say that's why I think that even shit like arguing in the comments, as long as you're not getting sucked down a rabbit hole by 8,200, sometimes people read through that shit and they're like, well, the guy makes a good point. I mean, 6 million is kind of a big number. I don't know how you would make that work, right? So listening to like this Piers Morgan, you hear some of these broke dick turns of phrase of like, are you willing to admit that? Are you willing to concede that? Won't you at least admit? Or like one of my favorites was, well, so you're just XYZ. In this case, so you're just someone who hates the Jewish people. So all of these things are designed to turn what you're saying into something else. All right. This deal of like, will you concede that? Will you admit that? This kind of a thing. This does two things. One, this says that you were wrong about something, and it tells you that what I'm asking you to concede to or admit to is the right thing. So in a situation where you're wrong and I'm right, now I'm leading this conversation. And everything we say after this, all right, the viewer or the listener or somebody spectating this is going to see this through the lens of, well, that guy was wrong and this guy was right. He already admitted it, so probably he's going to be wrong about everything else. It's not going to be like a total win, right? But anytime you admit, it's like a point against and a point for. So now you're starting from behind the eight ball, right? So this is something you don't want to stand for. Won't you at least admit? No, I won't fucking at least admit. All right, will you just at least admit that you're full of shit? How about that? Let's start with that. Like, who's running this fucking interview? Second, this business of, oh, so you're just XYZ. This is something that, and to the very few, like the one or two women who listen to this, this is not a personal attack against you. This is just a way that women argue. And I've argued with plenty of women. If I'm good at nothing else, I'm good at arguing with women. But this is a method of arguing that women will use. And this is to essentially reduce, any number of points that you have. You might have a nuanced and multifaceted take on, this, that, or the other thing. But when somebody says, oh, well, so that's reducing it to one thing. What they are doing is taking all of your points, all of your issues, whatever it is that you were going to bring out, shoving it into one folder, if you like, and it's going to be a folder that they were ready to address. All right. So if you were arguing with like your wife or your girlfriend and you're like, hey, every Friday, every Saturday night, you're out with your friends, you're out there getting fucked up. I'm, back here hanging out by myself, or, I got to call my friends, but I can never plan on anything with you. And then when you want something from me, then I got to be at your beck and call. Everything is on your schedule. Okay, so you got like a few different things that you're trying to address here. It's, you don't know where she's at, what she's doing. She's out getting fucked up. Are you paying for this or not? I don't know. And then, ignoring you when you might want to do something. And then if she wants to do something, you got to ignore your friends and come out. So you've got like a few things there, right? This would be reduced to like, oh, well, so I'm never allowed to do anything with my friends. All right. So what you see there is all of the things that you had concerns about have been chunk, like scrunched down into like, you're saying I can never do anything with my friends. And using these terms, these absolutists, these hyperbolic terms like always, never, every, all, none. This is, again, a way of making your conversation or your line of argument look stupid. All right. And if you want, you can consciously do it. I mean, you can do it to these people just as well. So you're saying that people in our country should never, ever look out for their own interests and they should only look out for Israel. Is that what you're telling me, Piers? Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying at all, right? You could do that if you like. I don't know that, a lot of times we don't need to do that because we tend to deal just in truth. So these are parlor tricks, right? So that's the way it would work, like if you're arguing with the girlfriend, the way that pretty much all of us have. But what you see and what I think most of us are blind to sometimes is the way this gets wheeled out by professionals against us when they're trying to preserve their little image. So like with this Pierce Morgan situation, he's talking to Bilzerian and he's talking about, like right out of the gate, are you really willing to stand by these extremist ideas? And then he's talking about like, well, so you're just a person that hates all Jewish people. Like, so he's very much reducing. Oh, no, you just hate everybody because for no reason at all. Like one day for no reason at all, I got up and just started hating on him. At the end of it, Piers had nothing, dude. He had nothing. And at the end of it, I honestly feel like he looked at this and he knew that he wasn't going to have a fucking leg to stand on. And he had these phrases. He is a professional. Maybe he's used these before. But I really think, if this guy had it written down, I wouldn't be surprised a bit as like a last resort to just roll to it and be like, well, this is amazing. I don't know. Or he didn't say amazing. What did he say? Like I'm gulp-founded or some English shit. Some kind of weird limey expression, right? I'm stuck in the chimney, I am. But he's talking about, he just sits there in silence for a second and he's like, I don't know how this is going to play out. How do you think this is going to play out now that you've said this? And the idea there is like, I've got no argument left. All I can do is make you worry that you're going to look stupid. Why would you look stupid? And, during the interview, it was pretty wild, man, because Bilzerian, he's got the zeal of the newly converted, if you remember back to, and if you've been in art thing any amount of time, you know the deal. Like when you first started figuring these things out and you're like, motherfucker, can you believe this? And you're like grabbing people off the street and like, do you know how much money goes to Israel every year? Can you believe this shit? And you start seeing these things. You're like, the Federal Reserve, do you even know what fractional reserve lending is? And you just start grabbing people and you're like shaking them like, you son of a bitch. And then it occurs to you, eventually after a year or two that like, yeah, man, people are programmed against that shit. And if you've got the balls to be saying something about it, you got to remember that like everybody else is still scared shitless that like, dude, don't say anything, man. You're going to get me fucking fired. But what I really like about hearing Bilzerian's takes, and I've heard him on Jake Shields, and Jake Shields, same thing, man. Maybe not the brightest bulb on the tree, but the both of these guys, I think, I really think because both of them come from a career or a background where you can't really fuck with reality, right? Jake Shields was a fighter, a pretty fucking good fighter, as I understand it. He was a UFC guy, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. And in that situation, you can only bullshit for so long, right? And I think you kind of get it into your head in some of these situations, like whether it's, guys that come out of the military, guys that were fighters, or like Bilzerian being a poker player. Like when the numbers are there, right? When the stats are there, this guy keeps getting fucking 4 of a kind. That ain't right. It ain't fucking right. It's not fucking mathematical. And the people that deal in these reality type situations, you see this absolute bullshit and it just sticks in your craw. Like it's like a splinter in your mind. You know what I mean? And this dude gets out there and he's like, Piers is trying. He's trying his best, to hold down the fort. And he's like, so you deny that these things happen, these horrible, you make light of it. And he's like, no, I don't believe this happened. It's not mathematically possible. And he's talking about this number of camps, this number of people. This is what you say the population was. This is what we know for sure. And now there's this many bunny ears survivors. It's not possible. And Piers, and this is when he just kind of shifts to like, I'm gobsmacked. I'm simply, whatever. I'm trapped in a carriage wheel or whatever the fuck it is, that British TV announcers say when they're quite beside themselves. So how that plays out, man, again, as with most things, I do not know, dude, but I am interested to see. My best guess is that Piers is going to get a visit from Big Rabbi, and I think he's going to get his dick smacked for one, because, like we know that their only real power lies in you not looking at them. right? Like Dave Chappelle says, right? Like whenever it's, if it's a group of blacks, it's a gang. If it's a group of Italians, it's mafia. And if it's a group of Jews, it's a coincidence. And you should never talk about it. So I think he's going to get his dick smacked, and probably this will be the last you hear about it. And maybe Bilzerian, they try to smash him, on the down low. But I mean, he mentioned Kanye, and he's like, look what they did to Kanye, right? I mean, that guy had $1 billion fucking dollars. I mean, if it was me, I could see having $1 billion and just cashing out and being like, there, I have fuck you money now. I need to start saying fuck you. But yeah, they smashed that African butt good. This Bilzerian, though, I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I would be willing to bet, I think, that he's probably got a few shady dealings in some kind of direction. I don't know that you could be a guy with a yacht and not have a few dirty fingers someplace. I don't know. So it wouldn't be surprising at all, if you were to find out that like, oh yeah, Dan Bilzerian indicted today for something extremely petty that could have only been uncovered by a lot of deep diving by a lot of small hats, So we'll see how that pans out. Best of luck to him. And if Piers Morgan shows up next time with a black eye, then you'll probably have a good idea why. Moving along, man, we burned a fuck ton of time talking about not really anything, but I wanted to get to this election thing because it was a barrel of laughs, and it continues to pay in hilarity. But I don't know, man, there's some things some things that need to be mentioned, and some things to laugh about, and some things to be aware of, I suppose. So right off the top, my prediction at the time, earlier on, I really thought the fix would be in, man. I really thought that they would hand it to that African in the same manner that they handed it to Stuttering Joe. I thought that we would get at least a solid 4 years of more gays, more immigrants, more jackassery, more women in the streets, more of this shit. As it turns out, such is not the case. She got blown the fuck out, long and short. And I was watching on election night, and I'll tell you what, I learned a little something about myself. You know how some cats, they'll get stuck watching a movie or stuck watching, a series, and like, I got to watch one more episode or whatever. Like, I don't really have that, man. I don't really give a shit. But when I was watching this election, and I can flip between like 5 different channels and look at like, well, what are these guys saying? What are these guys saying? What are these guys showing? Or who's calling this? Man, I sat there till late as fuck and like, holy shit, dude, I want to see what everybody's saying. And then you start looking at like, well, who called it first? And did anybody have to reverse grip, Because I have seen a few times in elections where like a news channel wants to be the first to call a thing so that people will stay on that channel. And they'll want to be the first to call it. But then, something funky will happen, and it'll be like, oh, yeah, the African vote just came in from downtown, and, we got to reverse, on Pennsylvania or whatever. But, yeah, man, I sat there till the wee hours watching all the stuff. And something I had noticed was that a lot of these channels, like a lot of these like hardcore leftard channels, like your MSNBC, and then pretty much like the big 3 of like ABC, NBC, CBS, the stations that used to be like where you'd go to get your news. Like all of these were like, as it wore on and it started to become apparent, last time when the Trump thing happened in 2016, and it was fucking meltdown o'clock, man. Like people were out of their fucking minds. These people were crying. I mean, Rachel Maddow like breaking down. This is where we are. This is what America. Oh my God! And it was fucking hilarious. What was kind of stupid, was it like, yeah? So then 4 years of Trump, and what really happened? Well, not much happened here. I mean, we didn't get much more in the way of war. Things kind of stabilized cost-wise, but then it was basically like an all-Israel program. Like, yeah, what does Israel need? Let's see what our greatest allies require. Let's get them what they want. So that's just broke as fuck. And I think that's where we're going to be again. And that's as this thing rolled out, and I'm like, okay, great. We're going to get, where I thought it was going to be, it's going to be civil war here or something, or we're just going to get flooded, absolutely fucking flooded with all of South and Central America, and then we're going to start flying people in from the dark continent. Instead of that, now we're probably just going to go to Iran. So maybe it buys you, regular people, like it just buys you a little time. Terrific. But what I was seeing on these news channels was this almost conciliatory tone where it's like, well, the Democratic Party really could have done a better job of reaching young men, young working men, young straight white men. And I even heard somebody say that like, yeah, there was really no message for straight white men. I was like, holy fuck, do my ears deceive? I couldn't remember what channel it was on now to save my life. And I might have made it up in my head. It came to me in a vision. But I do still feel pretty sure that I heard it. And I was taken aback, man, that they were almost, talking like, okay, well, better luck next time type shit. And even though, you're supposed to be the fucking news, right? You're supposed to just tell me what's going on, not this business of like, oh, this is horrible. Like a tornado hit half of the country or some shit. And like, this is awful. This is the worst thing ever. Like, bitch, this cat won the popular vote and the electoral vote. This is what the people fucking want. You and your little genius club, African, it's not, you are the minority, right? You fuck. Again, even more the minority now, right? But, yeah, this shit went on. So I just went to sleep. And then the next day I got up and I really thought, you see some of the kooks and some of the blue hairs and hollering about, if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. If Trump wins, I'll never have sex again. And like, bitch, nobody's having sex with you anyway. But I was surprised, man, at the amount of insanity, the amount of sheer insanity that did ensue. I mean, the first time was, it was pretty wild, dude. Some of the yelling and the howling. But I think in the 8 years since the last Trump win, I think unhinged women have had time to refine their technique, of posting their mental breakdowns. Like, I feel a little sketchy. I think I need to get a little, so let me get my camera set up. Let me get my phone propped up, get the lighting just right. Okay, hit record and go, oh God, I can't fucking believe it. Oh, and I mean, just the level of howling, it's amazing. And I'm like, bitch, what do you imagine is going to happen? What are you expecting? Well, like, what are you expecting that I don't expect? Because I don't see shit coming down the pipe. Like, you basically got a few years bought for you. It's not crazy out just yet. But this business of, I've talked to a few, I'll tell you, I have the terrific misfortune of being within proximity of a good few lefty women. And I started getting hate texts almost immediately. Like, I got a few that were like not, and I'll tell you straight right now, I didn't even fucking vote, because my take was like, I can't look at either of these idiots and say that they in any way, shape, or form represent my interest. All right, each of them have a good end for us, I would say. Right? Because if Gorilla Harris got in, it was going to be like, yeah, this thing is going to fucking collapse. Everybody could see it for the bullshit that it is, and we can get started on rebuilding. Like, just let them show their fucking colors and let's get back to work. That's an upside for us, in my opinion. If it's Trump, okay, man, it buys you a little bit of time. Maybe gas goes back to normal. We can try to continue doing our work, but quite honestly, it might be worse. He might end up, not me, but younger dudes might end up getting shipped to fucking Iran for all I know. Who the hell knows, right? So that could be arguably worse. Under the premise of, oh, aren't things better? Yeah, look, gas costs less, but you get to go to war. That's great. It's plus side. Hooray, terrific. But I had the terrific misfortune of talking to some of these women, and I started getting hate texts and like these fucking wall texts, and I just had to write back like, hey, I didn't vote, man, and I'm not reading your fucking book. So, I'll call you tomorrow or something. But I talked to a few of these women and I wanted to get their 2 cents. And I will tell you something, like most 99.9% of the women and the lefties that I've talked to, these people have absolutely no grasp on any of the, how can you say, man, the policies, the questions, the issues, the details. And I ain't Mr. fucking government or nothing, man, but I can at least look at a thing and say, I know this is an area of concern, and I know there are probably 2 or 3 avenues to fix this area of concern. And I couldn't say what every aspect of this candidate's plan is because they won't fucking tell you, long and short. But I can take a wild guess, right, at what is going to go on here. So let me say it just this way then, I guess, is I hear some of these women out, you know, and it's women that I hear from primarily on this, because lefty dudes ain't texting anybody. They know they're not going to text me. That's for fucking sure. But I talked to a few of these women, and their primary concern is like knowing that they don't know shit about the economy, don't know shit about foreign policy, don't understand trade relations. I mean, I barely understand trade relations, but they understand none of this. Their only real concern is this abortion thing. So I asked them, like, what exactly is your concern? Because when I see this shit of like, it's like The Handmaid's Tale, I'm like, bitch, I didn't watch that movie. I didn't read that book. I'm not taking time out of my day. Tell me what you mean. Well, they want to turn women into, I'm like, okay, don't tell me what you think somebody else wants. That's not a real thing. I can't tell you what you want. You can't tell me what I want. Don't tell me what some guy you've never ever talked to wants. Tell me what your fucking concern is. So after, you know, much browbeating and much painful conversation, because I actually want to know, like, what the fuck is going through you people's heads? After much conversation, I get a little bit of an answer. And some of the answers give you something to work with. And some of it just reveals kind of a propensity for programming, I guess you would say. But to kind of lay it out, like, their concern is where you talk about this abortion thing. So apart from the idea of like, I just want to be able to have an abortion whenever I want because it might interrupt my partying and I want my life to be fun. I want to do what I want to fucking do. Okay, so I say, well, look, how is that today different than what it was when this Roe v. Wade thing got overturned? Because understand, this Roe v. Wade thing, this ruling by the Supreme Court, that deal, that did not ban abortion. All it did was the federal government is saying, just, we're not putting our hands on this. This isn't our fucking problem. They're just pushing it to the state level. So whatever the fuck state you live in, that's where your concern is. So if you don't like the law there, talk to somebody in your state about, I think the law should be like so. It should be stricter. It should be less. It should be more defined, like this, that, or the other fucking thing. But to talk about a federal situation, well, this doesn't mean anything. So kind of their pipeline of concern then is that Trump is going to get in. Trump is going to get to nominate a bunch more justices. He's going to pack the Supreme Court. Like, bitch, do you even know what that means? Anyway, justices are going to retire. He's going to put new justices, conservative justices in there, and they will ban abortion nationwide. So I say, all right, well, so if that is your primary concern, then is that not kind of a lot of steps removed? Because what you need now is, 1, you need these justices to retire. 2, you need Trump to nominate justices that would overturn a previous Supreme Court decision. And mind you, like this most recent decision, this was not so much like, we think this in a way that generates federal action. All they're saying is, no, we're taking our hands off of it. We're not involved. So way back when they were involved, now they're not involved. So what you're saying is that he's going to get in, he's going to nominate justices. Those justices are going to be willing to reverse this hands-off policy, that they're going to institute a nationwide ban. And I don't know, I guess somehow that means what? That women are left with no recourse? And I said, well, look, you are actually kind of left with a recourse. You're left with lots and lots of recourses. You can, 1, be on birth control. 2, keep your fucking legs together. 3, if you're completely shithoused and everything goes completely wrong, the next day, go get this fucking Plan B thing and you're all set. All right. So what you're talking about is like, you've already fucked up on 3 different levels. And now you want to be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do because you've proven yourself to be just kind of a fuck up. All right. On the other side of that exact coin, though, like I've said before, if I'm being completely honest, I do know that abortion is a service used primarily by minority women in this country. So if you're going to turn that off, we're going to be neck deep in welfare recipients by lunch tomorrow, right? That's just a mathematical fact. You could say that's cold and heartless and fuck you coffee and the sanctity of life coffee. I'm the wrong fucking guy to come to with sanctity of life. Is it fucked up? Yeah, it's fucked up. Is it ideal? No, it is not fucking ideal. Is it a fucking fact, though? Yes. So it's not like my opinion matters on that. I mean, that's just a fucking fact of life, man. But looking closer at this thing, then I got into it with some of these ding dongs, and a few things did come up that got my attention, specific to this, specific to how can you say women's, whatever, reproductive health care type thing, right? So I get a couple articles forwarded to me regarding a couple of women in a couple different places. And I had mentioned some of these previously. And like one of them that they're really trying to run with is this business of some woman in Georgia who had tried to schedule an abortion at some point, said there was traffic, and then didn't show up. There was traffic, you see, and then didn't show up. And then by then was too far along to kill her unborn child. Another was some woman that tried to do an abortion at her house or some kind of thing, or through some mail order thing, and fucked herself up real bad, but then didn't go to a doctor and ended up dying of sepsis. Again, not a federal issue. Like this is a natural selection issue. This is you're too fucking stupid to keep yourself alive issue, which, right? I mean, do I have to say the words, right? So one that actually did get my attention. Well, there was two that actually got my attention. One, and again, this is as I read it. I don't know if these are lies. These can be completely made up stories, twisted stories, a combination of 2 or 3 stories. All right. This is the story I heard, the story I read. Okay. So I'm reading this one story and they're talking about some 18-year-old girl in Texas that is pregnant and starts having a miscarriage, but goes to the doctor and they say, yeah, but the law, and I don't want to get in trouble and I don't know what it's going to be. So just go home. And if it gets worse, come back. Goes to the ER again and they say, oh, I'm not sure what to do. I don't want to get in trouble because of the law. But now the sepsis situation is kicking off. I don't know, they like gave her Motrin or some kind of shit, some kind of, something that ain't going to do shit. And then she ended up dying. So, my thing there, I guess, and again, this is the story as I understand it. This could be completely made up, but just working from the premise of if this actually happened, right? Like my 6 million. If this actually happened, it would be terrible, right? So if this actually happened, though, I would say that, yeah, okay, if this is one situation, this is one person weighed against the well-being of an entire country. Right? One person on one issue. I would still say that like, okay, well, if it happened that one day, yesterday, it could also happen tomorrow. And if it happens tomorrow, what are we going to fucking do? Again, though, this is a state issue. And from what I have seen, there is not a law in place where, like, if you're having a miscarriage or you're fucked up and you're going to die, that, okay, we can't do anything because that would be an abortion and it would be wrong. Every state, from what I'm seeing, has a law that says, yes, in that case, then you would be able to perform this abortion. Like the same thing in Georgia with this thing with, like some 13-year-old rape victim. Imagine that. Do I have to, give the specifics, right? But goes to some urban hospital, right, where the doctor says, oh, you can't do nothing. But again, according to Georgia law, where it's a rape situation and police report has been filed, an abortion can be performed on the rape baby, right? So what I'm seeing then is that at a minimum, you could say, yeah, at a state level, there needs to be better doctor education. Sure, man, I'll concede that. But again, not a federal issue. If you were going to call it a federal issue, you could call for a federal mandate of every doctor who's going to work ER or work OBGYN will be made aware and will get signed off, just like you have to in the military or at a gazillion jobs at this point, like all your security shit. right? All of your best practices, all of your diversity awareness or whatever, right? You got to get signed off on like, this is the laws in my state. Here's the kind of care I can provide. Here are the situations where I can do X, Y, Z. Because, what I do feel pretty sure of is if you sent some chick home, I honestly have a really hard time believing, if I'm being completely honest, I have a hard time believing that some woman was dying, right? Because there are going to be indicators. You walk in there with, giving a miscarriage, your body is going to be reacting to that. So you're going to see your elevated heart rate, your elevated temperature. If you get labs, you're going to see your elevated white blood cell count. Well, not immediately. Well, if there's indicators, right, you're going to start seeing something, and you're going to start seeing it pretty quick. And if not, then it's going to be like, okay, well, go sit over there for a couple hours. We'll keep an eye on your temperature. And if that keeps going up, then we're going to know that, right, something is not getting better. It's getting worse. So you send somebody home with something still wrong with them. All right. I mean, you set yourself up for a monster civil suit, and you set the hospital up to basically get shut down because, I mean, yeah, I understand once you're dead, you're not going to be able to do much with that money. But I mean, everybody you work with is going to be like, dude, you fucked everybody up here. Get everybody in here, get a fucking consensus opinion. And then if we all got to go to court and say like, yeah, it's a bunch of doctors' opinions against who? Against somebody that wasn't there? Nobody's going to fucking hit you for that. Get the fuck out of here. There's something in medicine called the Good Samaritan law. And the deal there is that if you're as a regular person, you can, I don't know, this might be useful to know, but anytime you're rendering aid to someone that you feel needs it, right? Like if somebody's knocked out on the side of the road and bleeding out of their head, you're a regular person, you can go and help them and not be held liable. So long as you're practicing within your scope of practice, right? Like if you're a regular person, you don't know shit about, anything medical, and you see some pregnant woman that's, I'm calling 911. I'm about to deliver. And you're like, no, I know what to do. I've seen this on TV. And you're like, get boiling water. And you're going to like dump boiling water on her. Okay, well, you're outside your scope of practice. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Now you would be liable. Right. And again, I'm not a lawyer. This ain't legal advice. This is just, as Coffee understands it, but I got a pretty good handle on this. So again, as long as you're rendering aid to someone who needs it within your scope of practice, there's not a way you can be held liable. So if you're an ER doctor, woman comes in that's obviously pregnant, shows signs and symptoms of possible septic reaction, stuff that includes elevated heart rate, temperature. If you get a chance to get labs, I mean, who knows how long that takes, right? But shows every indicator that her body is rejecting what's currently inside of her. And this could go wrong real fast. I mean, what is her O2 saturation, right? I mean, there's a lot of tools you've got here before you arrive at like, yeah, just go home. You're fine. If any of these medical professionals would have said like, no, man, I see that something is not right here. Something is not within normal limits. Something needs to be done. This is within my scope of care to do. All right. And I'm going to do it. There's not a way that you can be held liable, because imagine if you were held liable in some kind of a way. Like imagine the prosecutor that would have to bring that case. Like, dude, if you bring this, it comes in like, yeah, guilty. Like this guy thought she was having a miscarriage and did an abortion, and we decided that she wasn't in enough peril, right, to justify this. Okay, well, yeah, that's well and good, but what do you do to every other person now that goes in there? Like the doctor is going to be like, I don't know, I can really help you, dude. I got to be very, very careful because somebody I worked with went to prison for doing what he thought was the right thing, right? So that would really fuck things up. So like one, realistically, it wouldn't happen, again, realistically. But even if somebody wanted it to happen, cooler heads would probably call in and say, man, whatever the fuck you do not do that. Do not prosecute that person for rendering care within their scope. All right. Just the same. Again, let's assume the worst. Like, let's assume that it all went this way. Again, this can be fixed with something as simple as, right? Like, hey, look, new mandate coming out. New OSHA mandate. You got to sit through this. You got to demonstrate knowledge of your state's laws and regulations regarding this situation. Miscarriages or whatever your state's laws are on women's reproductive health or abortion or whatever you want to fucking call it. Simple, dude. You don't need a whole ding-dong candidate for that. But instead, you don't get that, because what do you get instead? You say, well, yeah, no, but it should be between a woman and her doctor. Okay, well, again, now we're right back to I should get to do whatever I want, all right? And that's a childish way to do anything. So it really is, man. Like, it's around and around in circles with that conversation. And I mean, honestly, I feel like until the people that are so hardcore, like ready to die on that hill, are ready to say, all right, man, let's have an honest conversation about this. Let's nail down some definitives. Because my first question is like, okay, well, how do you feel then about if a pregnant woman gets killed by a drunk driver, is he charged with double murder? Oh, well, yeah, that's her baby. Okay, all right, there. What if a drunk driver hits a pregnant woman and she just miscarries but doesn't die? Does he still get charged with murder? Well, yeah, of course. Okay, well, you can't have it both fucking ways. All right, so you can't say like, oh, you killed my baby, you drunk. Okay, well, no, it was just a clump of cells. Nothing happened. Nothing even happened. There was nothing there. Nothing ever there. All you did was just, you were uncomfortable for a little bit and I damaged your car. No big deal. No harm, no foul, right? Or you could say, all right, dude, let's define this thing. Let's figure out what's going to be cool, what's not going to be cool, who's going to be responsible for what, and then start making fucking laws. But again, at the state level, dude, at the state level, because it's not a federal thing. But the other part of this was they got at this. I hear a lot about, they're talking about this woman. And they're talking about, well, she didn't really have a fair chance and she had a really short runway. Like, short runway is one my new favorite phrase. She had a really short runway and didn't get a chance to put her policies out there and make her case. And my thing was like, look, man, like let's suppose that you're 1,000% spot on with this whole women's reproductive health issue. And this really is the big fucked up fuck story that you say it is. And women are being neglected and people are being hurt and doctors are being confused and all this shit is going on. Okay, you're the vice president. You got years to get this in front of people. You are the vice fucking president. Hold a press conference every day. Because what else were you doing? No, they had her locked away because she can't be trusted to talk in public. Because she turns into a mumbling dumbass and starts quoting fucking Marx, all right? Unburdened by what has been. All right, it's straight out of fucking Marx. And I had to explain that to this woman. They're like, yeah, some people, you can get away with this shit and you just think it's a cute phrase. You can't pull this shit anymore in America. There are too many autists. There are too many autists that are going to hear that and be like, that's a dog whistle. That's Marx. I know what you're fucking doing. You can't pull that shit. And that's what she was doing again and again. So you had years, though. You had years to get this in front of people. And I said, look, man, if this is the case that it is, I shouldn't be hearing it from you. I should have been hearing it from her 2 years ago. I should have been hearing it like forever ago. If she knew old Stuttering Joe is still planning on running, you could at least have the guy's back, maybe set yourself up for another go as vice president. And if not, at least keep your name out there so that the next time up, maybe it's you, right? But you didn't do that. You didn't do any of that shit. You had this whole time where you could have gone on fucking Rogan. Because, I mean, if you look at your Trump, I mean, where did he really make his money? Like in a big picture sense, like where did that guy really make his money? The McDonald's thing was a fucking monster. The Rogan thing was a fucking monster. The trash truck thing was fucking genius. I mean, I don't like the guy per se. I mean, as advertising and that kind of shit, it was fucking brilliant. The dude went on Rogan and talked like a normal person. He's still working it, right? But he just talked. He didn't go out there and just fucking spout word fucking salad and suck. And she could have done this, man. You got invited on fucking Rogan, but instead you went on that other thing and clucked like a ding dong. So this is what you get. So this business of she had a short runway, like, bitch, you didn't have a short runway. You had all the time in the world. And this is how you spent it. You spent it going on like fucking Haktua or whatever with that other Jewish chick. So you could talk about whatever. But I mean, broke is a fucking joke. So yeah, some of the top shelf reactions, man. Jimmy Kimmel, dude, to see a otherwise grown man crying about a woman not getting elected, like that's just embarrassing, dude. And you should choke yourself just on pure principle. But the idea of like you lost out too, Republicans, you lost out too. You just don't know it yet. And I'm like, dude, so herein lies the problem, is this business of some perfume prince asshole that sleeps behind a high wall and, doesn't have to do shit for himself is going to imagine that he knows better than you. And that's the problem with all these fuckers. They're so sure that they know better than you. But moving on from some of the reacts, man, and that was really, it was tedious as fuck, dude. And I mean, they're still coming out. They're still coming out. Women shaving their heads. Dude, I saw one yesterday of some fucking teacher in California came unstitched during class. And somebody started filming, man. Like, this broad came unstitched. She's got some young dude, some young man up there. And she's got a set of scissors and she's like screaming the national anthem and just cutting pieces out of his hair. I don't know how it got to that. I don't know if she asked him to come up there. I don't know if this was on a dare or some kind of thing. But she's got this dude up there and she's cutting pieces out of his hair and screaming the fucking national anthem. And the dude finally gets up and she's still going at it, man. The rocket's red glare. And I'm like, holy shit. And now she starts going after some girl and people are like, miss whatever, calm down. And she's chasing motherfuckers around with a set of scissors. And they're finally like, they all haul ass out of the classroom. And I guess she got arrested, man. And it was, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in California. But yeah, she got rolled up, and I could see, man, if I was the parent of that kid, I would be fucking heated. I could see being in somebody's ass over that. But yeah, but I mean, this is the kind of shit that's going on out there. I mean, this far exceeds the 2016 reacts. I mean, this far exceeds that, dude. I mean, women filming them, or people filming them, like throwing legit temper tantrums, breaking shit, throwing shit around in their house, just going fucking nuts. I'm holding on by a thread. That's my new favorite phrase, man. I'm really hip to some of these phrases. I'm going to start using these in real life. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I could say I had a really short runway on this. I'd sound like a real asshole. I'm holding on by a thread. Well, then let go and shut the fuck up and just drown yourself, you fucking jerk. But yeah, dude, the reacts have been great. What has not been so great has been the picks, Trump's picks to date. So I know that after almost getting shot, that a lot of us hope that maybe if this clown dick got in, that he would start like really going hardcore. Like, look, man, I did for you. You still shunned me. I tried to come back. They blatantly short dicked that guy on the 2020 vote. That was something else that I had seen that really I forgot to mention that I got a laugh out of, was this business that somehow or other, like 20 million people didn't show up to vote this time. 20 fucking million. And there is not a single county where Gorilla Harris outperformed Biden, right? So there's nowhere that she did better than him. And somehow, some way, 20 million people just magically didn't show up. I don't think that's a personality issue, man. I mean, yeah, she kind of sucks, but she doesn't suck that much more than that crazy old man, than that kid sniffer. I mean, that's that speaks to something else for my money. I don't know, I don't know. Do you think we'll ever find out? No, I don't. So let's move along. So some of Trump's picks, man, this dude, how we thought that maybe he would get his shit together and start throwing straight dice. No such luck. I mean, he didn't go neck deep, and the excuse last time was, well, he's not a Washington insider. He's going to need some guidance. He's going to need people with a firm hand and da-da-da-da-da. So it was, last time it was all fucking Zog veterans. And now this time it's the lightweights, basically. It's the up-and-comers. It's not the names that you know, but it's a couple that you'll know. But he's got what? He's got Elise Stefanik as the UN representative, so the representative for this country to the UN, and she's absolute Zionist, like Israel first, hooray, hooray. Secretary of State, little Marco Rubio, guy that used to be a fucking go-go dancer, Miami go-go dancer, nice and gay. So yeah, that's what you get. And again, like whatever Israel wants, whatever my AIPAC guy says, that's what I'm going to do. U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. So just the fact that like the ambassador to Israel, that's a top priority. Let's get that named straight away. Like, what about the fucking ambassador to Bangladesh? What about the ambassador to Colombia? What about the ambassador to Spain? Anybody give a shit about that? Nope, not really a priority. Let's get eyes on the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, if you like. He's got South Dakota, Governor Kristi Noem as the Homeland Security Secretary. I don't know. I mean, she's got that, she did that thing with the transgender, whatever, men playing women's sports thing. Apart from that, man, I mean, South Dakota, what the fuck goes on in South Dakota? I don't know. I don't think I've been to South Dakota. Might have to check it out. Either way, I don't imagine I'm going to see anything that says, oh yeah, that's our guy is the Homeland Security Secretary. Anyway, you know what I just thought of? I have heard that South Dakota is a place where you can be, what do they call it? Like a migratory resident, right? Like I live out of my RV, and that's like basically your residence. So you can get all of your shit in South Dakota, like your driver's license, register your vehicles, stand up a fake business, this whole fucking thing out of South Dakota. So you're like a nomad, I think is the deal. Nomadic resident, some kind of shit like that. I might do a thing on that, man. I'll do a look up on that and do some talk on that, because that might be good to know. Good to know, you never know. Anyway, the thing I wanted to hit on, the guy I wanted to hit on a little deeper though, and this is, people are talking about this, and I want to say it's funny. I also want to say it's lame. Is this guy Peter Hegseth that's going to be Secretary of Defense? He's going to be the SECDEF. So this guy's 44 years old, and dig this, man. I've seen some of the memes, and they've got Lloyd Austin out there looking like a dipshit. And I mean, yeah, the guy's a fucking diversity hire. We all fucking know that. The guy has at least been around the military and can speak the language of the tea sippers. You know what I mean? The language of the cake eaters. In that sense, I'm not saying he's a better choice, and neither of these are good choices. I mean, just like this whole fucking election cycle has been, neither of these are good choices. But, the memes are like, oh, look at this badass motherfucker. He's going to be the SECDEF, and look, he's working out, and he's a white dude, and he's got the guns, and he's the shit, and oh, fuck, Putin better be scared. And like, yeah, great, fucking terrific. But I look more into this guy, and I mean, fucking hell, dude. I mean, in a nation of 360 million fucking people, is this really the best guy you can get? You know what I mean? Is this really the best guy you can get? You listen to this and you tell me. So this guy, all right, Peter Hegseth is 44 years old. He's been married 3 times. He got married the first time in 2004 to a woman named Schwartz. Oh, God. This apparently is, so he married some woman named Schwartz, was married to her for 5 years. This was right after he graduated from Princeton. So he graduated from Princeton, got a gig in 2003 at Bear Stearns as a market analyst. So you do the math, all right? He's getting, he's pulling himself up by his kosher bootstraps here, right? Gig at Bear Stearns, market analyst, marries someone named Schwartz. All right, so he's off to a good start. He gets into the, what the fuck was it? Well, into the Minnesota National Guard. So they're pitching him as like Mr. Military, Mr. Ass Kicker. And listen, I'm not knocking National Guard dudes, all right? If you were a National Guard guy and you're like, man, I was in there for the fucking money. I got to shoot a little bit. I walked around in the woods with my friends. It was a good fucking time. What the fuck? Yeah, cool, man. Or if you were the one National Guard guy that got downrange and you got it the fuck on and you burned fuckers down and you walked tall and okay, cool, good for you, man. This guy is not that guy. This guy is not out there saying, yeah, man, did it for the college money. This is bullshit. All right. This is fucking bullshit. So this dude, all right, gets into the Minnesota National Guard. straight away get stationed at Gitmo, at Guantanamo Bay, dude. I talked to somebody that worked at Guantanamo Bay once. I talked to some chick, and she taught me how to make a drink, and I can't remember how to make it no more. But it was basically one of those foo-foo girl drinks that was like, it was called, what the fuck was it called? Oh, it was called liquid THC is what they called it, and I don't fucking know why. But I believe it had, if I remember right, there was rum, blue curacao, which is basically just this. It's like triple sec. It's like sweet shit, like sweetness. Coconut. I want to say coconut liqueur. The green shit, Midori, melon flavored liqueur, and then pineapple juice, right? And it's really sweet and really nasty. And people who don't drink will drink the fuck out of it. It's a shit ton of booze and a shit ton of sugar, and you'll feel like you got hit by a fucking truck the next day. But it'll get you fucked up today. So yeah, that was the only thing I got out of Guantanamo Bay. I'd never been there, but I got a drink recipe out of it. Anyway, so yeah, he does some time at Gitmo. Then he goes to Iraq, and I couldn't find when he was in Iraq. I guess it doesn't really matter. At some point between 2004 and 2012. And he's in Iraq as a civil military operations. So this is the guy that does like organizes the gigs to like go out and give polio shots to kids, or go out and like, let's talk about getting a water treatment thing stood up, and then $1 billion, and 3 years later, finally, somebody can fill a fucking jug of water up. Terrific. All right, so that was this guy. Later on, 2012, he goes to Afghanistan, this time as a counterinsurgency instructor in Kabul. So again, if you've done some of these jobs, I ain't motherfucking you. This is not about you. If you're like, yeah, man, it was a cool job. I did it. I hung out. I got the fuck out. I went to college or whatever. I went back to my job as a postman. Cool. Knock yourself out. But what you can't do is walk in here like you're Johnny Big Dick swinging and like, Mr. 2A, here to fuck shit up. Oh, yeah, you better be fucking scared now, boy. Like, it's not honest. It's not genuine, all right? This is not you, guy. So looking at some of well, here was the big highlight that I really, this was what I was looking for, right? 2018, spoke at the Arutz Sheva conference in Jerusalem, he said, in Jerusalem, and commented, I see no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the Temple on the Mount cannot happen. So again, like this is in this guy's bio page, like, yeah, man, pro-Israel, super pro-Israel, like that Zionist shit, dude. Like not even in the practical joke sense of like, yeah, you just give Israel whatever they want. Like, no, this is a true believer. Like, what the fuck is this? This is the guy you picked? Anyway, I read an article that went over this guy's tattoos, because I mean, a lot of people now have tattoos. It's not, it used to be just for dirtbags, and now it's me and a bunch of regular people, right? Like, it's not just for dirtbags no more, which is kind of bullshit, because, it doesn't mean anything now. It's like you could fucking rent it, I actually saw a thing where there's like tattoos that'll wear off. I don't know what the deal is. It's some kind of ink that'll like, it fades away, just goes away. I'm like, well, kind of hurts a lot for just fading away. What the fuck's that about? But I digress. Anyway, so they're talking about this guy, your new SECDEF, a little bit of a look at his tattoos. So he's got on his chest, he's got a big fuck off, like Derek Vineyard sized Jerusalem cross, which if you meant it, I'd be into it, but I don't believe that you do, man. So he's got this big fucking Jerusalem cross. If you know what it is, or if you don't know what it is, you've seen it before, dude. It's like this Templar deal. Like it's like a plus sign, but the end of each arm of the cross is like a T. And then in each of the four quadrants is another smaller cross. So it looks like, I think it's on the Georgian flag as well, but that's the Jerusalem cross, meant to represent the kingdom of Jerusalem, like as promised, crusades, all that kind of shit. Anyway, here's another winner, dude. He's got Deus Volt on one bicep, which I dig it. It's cool conceptually. But here's what I saw, man, when I was in, was that you would see a lot of dudes get a lot of this shit, like dudes with like big crusader, like big fuck off crusader crosses. Dudes with little crusaders, dudes with like shields with crosses on them, that whole crusader tip. It's not honestly as much about like, yeah, we're going to retake Jerusalem, or yeah, I'm a Christian nationalist or a hardcore Christian or any of that shit. It's not about any of that. This is just about up yours Muslim. Like, this is just an anti-Muslim thing. I ain't pro-Muslim. I'm just saying, like, you're wearing something only to oppose something else, only as like a fuck you to something else, which is kind of silly. I knew one dude that had, well, two dudes actually, that had infidel written in Arabic on their arm. Like, I don't know, you're going to roll up and show your arm to some guy before you burn him down. But I was like, I guess maybe, like, only you and some Arab knows what that says. You and an Arabic speaker knows what that says. What's that about, dude? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have a hard time like putting something on my body that would be like, hey, fuck you, certain population. Like, I don't think I could, I put like a happy merchant, with like a bomb pointed at him, like a big, like fat man and little boy aimed right at him. And like, he's hand rubbing and like, oh no, but like looking at the sky, right? I want that. I want it right here where it's going to hurt a lot. And then I can show it to people. I can't see really doing that. I don't know that I would do that. Anyway, moving along, he's got that original Ben Franklin drawing of the join or die thing. And you've seen the one, well, there's a few different versions of it, but it's the one where it's like 8 pieces and there's like New England and all the little other ones. There's like 7 other ones of, join or die. And what else here? He's got a big fucking cross, like a giant fucking cross with a sword through it. And this, I guess, is in reference to what does it say here? Matthew 10:34, that I come not to bring peace, but a sword. Okay, great. But do you though? Do you, civil affairs guy? Do you bring a sword, or do you bring dental equipment? Because I don't really see you. I haven't got to the part yet where this guy fucked anybody up, right? I ain't seeing it. Anyway, he's also got We the People written in that good calligraphy script, and he's got 1775 in Roman numerals. I mean, this is the Roman numerals thing. This is very college girl to me, not my cup of tea. I see some cats with it. If you dig it. I don't, maybe it's just me being petty. I don't like things that college girls can ruin. I don't like college girls ruining things in general, but I think that is actually one. If you want to put a date, just put a fucking date, Holmes. Or if you want to do like a founded in whatever your birth year is, put it in fucking Roman numerals like you're, a corporation or some shit. That's cool. I don't really dig the Roman numeral tip. 1775 in Roman numerals. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? Stop it right away. All right. It's just weird. All right. Anyway, he's also got, so there's definitely a theme running here, right? He's got 13 stars around one elbow, which, actually is a pretty cool idea. I think just artistically, it's a cool idea. And I'm sure that it was some tattoo artist that came up with that was like, well, I guess, because the deal with elbows, like elbows are kind of a pain in the ass to contend with. Like, I have some ink if you're not getting the point. Elbows are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, because it's like a round area, but on a bending thing that's also kind of straight. So it's a real motherfucker to like, what the fuck can I put here that's not going to look stupid? And it's also rougher skin. So you have to figure out something that's like, it can't be like a real fine line, like a portrait of your mom or some shit, because it's going to end up looking like a catcher's mitt. You don't want that. So this idea of 13 stars, yeah, that actually plays pretty nice, man. Still a little bit on the gay side, but not bad. On his one of his shoulders now, I guess this would be his right shoulder. He's got he's got this flag with an AR as the bottom stripe of the flag. So if you've seen like any of these patches, like you would have on a uniform, like the American flag patch, right? How it doesn't actually have 50 fucking stars on there because it's a patch, right? It's got just a few. What he's got is like that, but it's like this, but it's all blacked out, right? So it's just a black stripes and field of stars. So there's not, 50 stars. It's kind of like a more stylized logo looking flag. But then the bottom stripe of the flag is an AR-15. So again, obviously like this is kind of like a 2A kind of a looking thing, right? Like I get it. But when I saw this, man, this is, if you were thinking of some ink, this is something you can keep in mind. And this kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I saw this, was that when you do ink, like you have to think of putting it forward, right? Like, so if you put like a head, like, like a Indian head nickel or some shit, right? Or George Washington quarter, right? How it's like a profile of a face. You always put it so that the head is going forward. Right? So the head is facing the same way your head faces, right? So you want the thing, whatever it is, on a shoulder, you want it going forward. So if it's a car, it should be driving towards your chest, not towards your back. If it's a dolphin, it should be swimming towards your chest, not towards your back. And the idea of this flag thing is that, like, whenever you have the flag on the uniform, it should look like it's flying, right? Like you're flying it going forward. So if it's on your right shoulder, then the field of stars will be on the top right. Okay, because that's the way that's the way the flag would look if you were holding a flag and walking forward. And that's the way you want it to look on your shoulder. That's the idea there. So when you see dudes in uniform, you'll notice that like whichever side, if they have a flag on their uniform, right, it'll be situated like that, where the field of stars is situated forward, just like a tattoo should be. But the issue here that rubs me the wrong way is he's got this flag and it's sitting properly where like the field is on the top right. So it's flying forward, but then the gun is situated, like the AR is situated, so it's pointing backwards, like pointing at his back. And I'm like, yeah, like this is really fucking irritating, dude. And when I look at it, I think, dickhead, you could have just reversed this image. Like any fucking artist could just do this, like stick it in the fucking computer and like blip, like reverse there, and now spit it out, put it on the other shoulder. So the gun is pointing forward, the flag is pointing forward, and the flag looks normal. Like when you look it up in a textbook, when you look up an American flag in a textbook and the field of stars is always in the top left, right? It looks weird to me. It's always weird to me to see it at first when it's on a right shoulder, like on a uniform, and you're like, why? Yeah. Because that's the way it has to sit to be flying forward. But it's going to be a tattoo, guy. You can do anything you want with this. So put it the right fucking, the right way. Put it the more normally recognized way. And plus, you'll have your gun pointing forward, so you won't have a tattoo sitting fucking backwards. Who the fuck did this to you? I mean, you do what the fuck you want, but it's, whatever, man. Knock yourself out. It's not like this guy was burning down anybody anyway. Who gives a shit, right? So on the other, I guess it's on the other shoulder. Maybe he had this one here first, and that's why he couldn't put the flag there. He has a 187th Infantry Regiment patch. I guess that's his National Guard crew or whatever. I don't know. I didn't bother to look up anything about the 187th. I don't know that... maybe they're cool motherfuckers. Maybe they drink like fish. Maybe they like to fight. Maybe something. Maybe they're all power lifters and he was happy to be there. I couldn't say. Maybe they're really cool motherfuckers. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a place that this guy worked for, one weekend a month, 3 times a year or whatever the fuck it is, right? I don't know, dude. So I didn't bother to look it up. I don't imagine I'll ever look it up. But this guy, one of his quotes, I don't know where this was, man, but talking about like his way ahead, he was talking about how the Gaza situation should be handled. And his takeaway was Israel will be stacking bodies because Netanyahu is not messing around. Like, dude, so basically, this is a guy, I never met the guy. He's a Fox News commentator. For my money, he's Handsome Dan, man. If I could look more like him than I look like me, all right, cool, dude. I'd probably have a lot more women like beating on my door. Coffee, can we hang out? Can I look at your backwards tattoo? Yeah, come on in. Let me put on something more comfortable. Let me slip into this shit, right? But, he's Handsome Dan, and that's well and good, man. But when we get down to it, I mean, for my money, like, this is a guy that didn't really do much ass kicking, but still somehow fancies himself an ass kicker and wants to get out there and prove it to the world. And that is a dangerous motherfucker. The guy who with an axe to grind, that is a dangerous son of a bitch. So who the fuck knows how this plays out? It could be, it could be much like a lot of things where nothing really happens. It could be something where some really bad shit happens because this guy is playing in a league that he is not suited to play in. I guess, like everything, we'll have to wait and fucking see. But to wrap it up, I wanted to, what do I have here? I wanted to wrap it up with a little Albania posting, a little more Albania posting. Again, I never been to Albania. I don't know if Albanian is even a language. I'm sure it might be. I don't know. But never been there. Don't really have plans to go there. Just somehow I keep seeing it. And so here you are. So in Albania news, it appears that Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister or president, whoever the fuck they have in charge, broad running the show in Italy, was looking to deport like just a few dozen of their fucking gazillion African immigrants. They were looking to deport a few dozen of them, with 7 of them, Bangladeshi and Egyptian men, to be sent to a remigration camp. Like basically a get the fuck out of here camp. Like, we're going to put you over here till we can figure out where to ship your ass to. They had a camp like this stood up in Albania. Lol. And apparently Albania was cool. Like, yeah, just put them here. Like, probably Albanians, maybe they just... they're not the bleeding heart sissies that some of these other people are. And they're like, yeah, you just put them here, dude. And then you do whatever you want with them. However, a Italian court blocked this move, saying that people could not be deported unless the place that they were going to be repatriated to could be deemed safe. And they mean like safe, like everywhere safe. Like, you can guarantee that you're going to ship this guy over there and he's not going to get stabbed in the street over a cricket match. Well, you're talking about fucking Egypt and Bangladesh and Christ knows what other hellhole countries. No, there's not a real way you can guarantee that, can you? So basically all this was a way for Italian courts to make it so nobody could ever be deported again, right? So I don't know what that means for Albania, if that means that, like, yeah, these guys are just stuck there, or you get to live in that camp now, or maybe Albania is going to turn them loose and let them hang around there. I would sure as hell hope not, because I haven't even been there yet. But yeah, I mean... as with most places in Europe, it looks like Italy is pretty much fucked. I was looking yesterday for like repatriation, or what are they calling it, dude? Like demigration, remigration, I think it is, plans. I was looking for like what's going on. Like in Germany, I'd heard France was doing some of this, but I mean, is it too little too late? I'd love to see it really pick up. With as much as... people have been taking cues, apparently, like looking at the Trump thing and somehow seeing it as better than we see it as. And I don't mean to piss on it all. I mean, I guess it does buy us time, and, maybe we'll get some good out of it. Maybe things will just suck at a steady rate instead of continuing to get worse. But there are world leaders that are taking cues from him and maybe starting to look at, like, maybe we get some of these idiots out of here. Maybe that's a better idea. So I am going to keep fingers crossed. I will remain hopeful, because what else can I remain, right? I will remain hopeful, though, and with a bit of luck in 2025, we'll see the trains run on time, and it'll be Africans as high as an elephant's eye, all getting shipped back to the dark, dark continent. But time will tell, and we shall see. But until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee. These are my takes.